Hello, salutations. What to do? It's not the gamer off by the Durag gang. You know, if I get it. Welcome to the Aftershow podcast with myself, Jay Shockblast, and sometimes Casual Avenger. Same great podcast, same great time, but new channel. We set up a dedicated Aftershow podcast channel. So make sure you subscribe and all that good stuff. So once we get to a certain amount of subs, we'll be able to add all the cool features and everything like that. But we want to start fresh, have a dedicated channel for the podcast and grow it as much as possible. Hopefully one day we'll hit Joe Rogan level. How you doing, Mr. Shockblast?
Oh man, what a day. Yesterday 11K walking. I was hurting this morning. So
Skill issue.
otherwise, hanging out,
Good to know. I have not been doing any walking, so I probably should. Maybe I'll compromise by doing some planks in the house. But I've been just working on my computer, trying to get this bread as a young black male in America. making these YouTube videos. Having fun. I have not gone to Pax East yet. I know that you guys also had that whole redfall unveiling.
Yeah.
So congrats on that. We got Eastwood, first one here. Appreciate you.
Oh yeah, I couldn't talk about Redfall last week, could I? Sorry, not to interrupt
Yeah.
Eastwood being in the house.
Yep. Now you can technically talk about Redfall. Well, I don't know as much as you want, but you can definitely talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. I think listen, it's not reinventing the wheel, okay? It's a looter shooter. You've played them before, right? I can say I think people are really going to enjoy this one though. It felt like all the good parts of like Borderlands and like BioShock. It had like this really cool vibe going on. Very creepy. You never knew when something was going to kind of pop out at you. The abilities were really cool. So I think this one's going to do really well. I'm very excited about it. You know, if you've ever played like Prey or Dishonored, I think it's going to feel very familiar. Or even Deathloop. I mean, obviously it's an Arcane game, so it feels like another chapter of an Arcane game. You know what I mean? So I enjoyed it. I really did. I wish we got to play co-op. It would have been interesting to see how that changed things. But playing by myself was pretty cool. I've gotten to play a few cool games in the last couple weeks. Yeah, it is a first person shooter. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I heard that there was some, they preempted the whole it's always online thing by saying that they're going to look into adjusting that. Probably won't be available for launch, but it's something that they're looking into eventually adding to the game, so people that can't be always online will have that option to play offline, which is good. I think every game should strive for that when possible. I don't really see the utility to me. Like obviously every single player game should should have offline, but I think I should apply to multiplayer as well when possible, because you want to not just accommodate people, but eventually when the servers are off, you want people to be able to actually go back and play it, especially if there's like a price. Like it's one thing for a free to play game, but I feel like if you're charging people $60-$70 for a game, they should be able to play it.
Well, if it's multiplayer, I get why it would have to be online. You know what I mean? There has to be some online element. I feel like if it's any form of multiplayer, then you just kind of expect that. But I do agree that if it's like a single player type game, that I don't really understand why you have to be online. It doesn't bother me as much as it does other people. I mean, but I also have like amazing internet. Like shout outs Verizon Fios.
Hey, I have Fios too.
Yeah, I can't even tell you in the 8 years I've lived here, I can't count. I wouldn't even need more than my one hand to count how many times I've had internet outages of any kind. Um,
I probably
it's
I probably get like 3 a year.
Yeah, like honestly, I remember one time they did have to come in and change something on that little box they put in. I don't know what it is, but the big box they hang on the wall. But that was it, and that was like years ago. So, um, yeah, I get it. I do get it because I do understand some people have terrible internet, and it is what it is. But I don't know. I don't really understand why they need to do it other than like as like an anti-piracy thing, but um you know I don't know that pirating these games on consoles is what it used to be anyway.
Probably,
uh
yeah, probably not. But I think it. Yeah, I think I love to have a developer on to talk about that. But yeah, I think it's definitely something. If it's something they could implement, you know, like Redfall's doing, that I feel like it's something that obviously it's not essential that they had it always on online. So I don't know why if you have the option to do it, just do it.
yeah,
Just have that courtesy, especially if you have a single player mode. Like just do it.
I think especially for that, like obviously if you're doing anything multiplayer, it's going to be online anyway, so that goes without saying. But for the single player games, I don't get it. I don't really understand what we're doing. Every like historically in every possible way, every single time any company has ever tried to do always online, they have been destroyed over it.
Yeah.
So why is it even worth it? Like, why are you going to be the one that like hangs on the cross,
Which is why it
and
was
martyrs yourself?
which is why it's so weird that Suicide Squad walked into that obvious trap.
Yeah,
they fell into every potential trap that they could have possibly fell into when it came to launching this game. They got the leak. I mean, nothing you can do about that. But you got the live service looter. Then it's like, oh, also we're gonna have premium skins and free DLC. So immediate Marvel's Avengers comparisons. Then it's also going to be always online. It's like, come on, guys, this was a layup.
yeah. Also, I was at Pax East yesterday. I didn't play too many games. I had an appointment to play Dead Island 2. And that was actually really cool. I saw Dead Island 2 in 2014 at PAX Prime.
Mm.
So it's kind of crazy to see how far it's come. I don't know the name of the character I played as. I played as a female character. I don't know that they picked the best part of the demo to put us in, because it was at night, and I feel like they did that to kind of like give you that creepy, vibe and everything.
Right.
But it was kind of hard to see everything that was going on, and it was like everything was like level 19, and I couldn't get a good like I kept like throwing grenades at people, because I thought that was how to switch my weapon, and then I kept like switching through like 14 weapons before I could get to a gun. So I didn't do as well as I would have liked to. It is definitely I don't know if it's gonna be Elden Ring, okay, but
You
even
hear
the first Dead Island in
you
which
hear it first. Elden Ring. Down to better be better than Elden Ring. You heard it.
But the first Dead Island was like one of the harder games I can remember playing. Like it was pretty challenging, and the stakes were always felt like they were really high. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I thought it was really cool though. Like my buddy that was with me was kind of watching over my shoulder, and we both kind of had a few jump scares, and I don't know. It was cool. I definitely can't wait to like get the full release.
I
Um,
I can't remember ever having a jump scare in a horror.
Yeah, I'm not like, well, I'm very like here's the
Boo!
story. Do you remember the Yeah, exactly. Remember the movie Mr. 3000 with Bernie Mac?
Vaguely, yes. Actually,
Okay, so it's a baseball game where he like retired, or a movie where he retired
yeah,
at exactly 3,000 hits,
yeah.
and then something happened and they took a bunch of them away.
Eddie had to
Like
cut.
they didn't
Eddie had
count.
to mount. He had about to come back.
So I went to see it with a bunch of friends way back in the day, and in the movie, like I was kind of like drifting off for a second, and he hits a foul ball, and they just did the scene where the ball goes up into the like camera basically, and I went, and all my friends laughed at me.
as
So
they
that's how jumpy I.
as they should.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. But yeah, I'm a little jumpy. I'm not a big horror guy to begin with. But I really liked Dead Island. Like I used to play that with my buddy DJ Chrome, and like back in the day we just would play that nonstop. We were both the black rapper in the game.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, no, that was like my favorite character playing that game. So he had Tim's and everything. So I just remember running up to people and booting them, and big old pair of Tim's come up on the screen.
he would
But
sounds like a Marvel character.
right, yeah. So I also played Toxic Crusaders yesterday, and basically, if you've played any beat 'em up side scroller, that's what it is. With a really cool soundtrack. I remember Toxic Avenger is what this came out of, and that's like this like early 80s like cult classic movie. And they had a cartoon in the early 90s. So it's basically Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge,
Okay.
but with these characters.
Okay.
So it was pretty fun. I'm sure it's gonna be like a $20 game, and you know, we'll all play it once or twice and forget about it. But it was fun. It was colorful. I liked it. So I saw people play the Golem game. I didn't. I decided not to play it myself, even though I could have. But I just kind of watched people play instead, and I was like, "Oh, it's pretty interesting. It's pretty cool. It looks good."
Dropping in June, right?
Um,
Right. I saw.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I put it. I think I put in on Keymailer for that one.
Yeah. So I mean, it looks pretty cool. But other than that, man, nobody's there.
Hey,
Like this is
you
the
you
weakest.
you buried the lead. Yeah, you missed Tyreek Hill.
I did. Oh yeah, you're right. So like today, I was at the Elgato booth meeting with, because you know I'm sponsored by Elgato.
Flex.
So like I was at the Elgato booth chatting with some of the people I know there, and they actually have a you know, a streaming booth, but it wasn't like up and running yet, and I might actually stream in it on Sunday. But today they had Tyreek Hill from the Dolphins actually in there streaming. So I mean, I guess Jay Shock Blast, Tyreek Hill, who are you gonna pick?
I mean, it's a coin. That's fair to call it a coin flip.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been to literally every single PAX East except 2014, and it was just crazy how empty the place was. Like even 2020, right when COVID was starting, it was not this empty. But like everybody bailed. Like shout outs to Nintendo and Pokemon. They're like the only like people there that are like big time devs, you know? No offense to anybody else. Like Devolver's there, that's great. But like Devolver is the king of the indies, basically, you know? They're not like necessarily, you know, the same as having Xbox and PlayStation and Ubisoft and EA and 2K.
It's understandable though. You know, times are changing. You know, you have like the big showcases. Like I mean, with E3 isn't even that big anymore. It's like more of these developers feel like they could better promote themselves by just having their own thing, especially if you're
yeah,
the
but I
size of
disagree
Sony.
with that. You know, and I think my big takeaway from this whole thing is I really do feel like there is value in being at these events and having the FaceTime with the consumers, because like this is a big deal. Like PAX East and PAX Prime are huge shows, and E3 of course. And like these are memories that will like stay with people. Like getting to play Toxic Avenger or not Toxic Crusaders and having the devs there, that's an experience. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And it kind of changes that mindset of like what the game means to you and stuff like that. Being able to like have these experiences is important. I really I can't, like, I think back to like when Bethesda was they usually had their own separate event they did at the Westin, which is the hotel like across the street. and I got invited a few times to that. And right as COVID, the 2020 PAX East, I always remember it because I spent a lot of time at the Bethesda event, and Marcus Smart from the Celtics was there with guy we traded to San Antonio. I can't think of his name right now. It doesn't matter. He was a first round pick. We traded him to San Antonio for White. But I'll think of it when it doesn't matter. But those two were there, and I got to watch them play Doom Eternal. And like, you watch Marcus Smart in the court, he's like a dog, you know what I mean? Like he's always out there, always grinding, always playing hard.
Of course.
And he like did the same thing in this freaking video game. Like he's like put it on the hardest difficulty. And so they did. And Doom Eternal, not the easiest game. And like he's obviously never played it. And he like kept getting just a little bit further, but he like wouldn't stop. He like just kept going and like finally got through it, and everybody went nuts. And even though like I didn't end up loving Doom Eternal, because I didn't like the health style, I always think
issue.
of that game. What was that?
Skill issue. Sorry, coughing.
It could be a skill issue, but like the only way to like you had to do certain things to get your health back. So I didn't love that, but like so those are things that always kind of stick with you. You always see like I know we're gonna talk about Spider-Man soon and Tony Todd and all that, and I think about even like Evan Flarka. He always is tweeting his picture with Yuri from E3 with Spider-Man, you know what I mean? So like these are things that will last with you forever. These are the things that create like hardcore fandoms. And I really do think there's just a lot of value in being there. And I really hope that these smaller titles, these smaller companies that now have the opportunity to shine, I hope they are able to take advantage of it and sell extra video games this way, because that Toxic Crusaders booth was really cool, and they had the elite position at the bottom of the escalators. So like when you come in, like it's the first thing you see. And that used to be where Xbox and PlayStation were. You went down that escalator and there was Xbox and there was PlayStation, and you would always see them first. And now it was Toxic Crusaders, That's a big deal. And PlayOn was on the just to the side of them. But yeah, I stood in line for Pokemon for like an hour so I could get my Sprigatito pin.
Nerd.
Yeah, and I just kind of walked around a little bit. I went to the limited run games booth and bought. They had a special edition Star Wars: The Force Unleashed on Nintendo Switch, which came in like a VHS cassette packaging.
Did you?
So I
picked that up. Did you make sure not to mention anything about Hogwarts Legacy while you at the limited run booth?
Yeah.
Before they cancel you. Before they cancel you.
Yeah. That's weird because I've worked with them before. I really liked them, and I was really disappointed in that whole situation. With the person they let go.
Of course you would, because you're as a straight white male.
I mean, no, I don't really. They fired that lady for being Republican.
Pretty
much.
That's
much. Really what it came down to.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they were dedicated to. I think someone dug through her whole history, looked through who she liked, who she followed. They made it a whole crusade.
Yeah, I hate shit like that, man. You know what I mean?
Just because she said she was looking forward to play the Wizard game.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the type of stuff I hate.
They got her out of there.
But yeah, I mean that's really honestly it, and I'm not there today. I will say, had a traumatic start to my day. All right,
traumatic.
So I picked up my badge. All right, and I had to walk all the way to the back of the building so I could go in. On Thursday from 9 to 10, the media gets to go in an hour early, and I always go on Thursday for that extra hour because to be able to go on the floor and have nobody to fight with. For space, like you go do the big things first, which I tried to do, but Nintendo and Pokemon did not start until 10. They're like, nope, you can wait in line. So but anyway, on that walk, apparently my badge fell off. And I got to the point where I was gonna go in. Security guard's like, "Oh, press, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, go that way." He goes, he's like kind of like pointing at me, and I look down. It's because it's my Rhode Island Comic Con badge, and I'm like, "Wait!" And I start flipping through it and everything. I'm like, "Wait, where?" I was like beside myself. So I walked all the way back to the desk, and dude's like, that sucks. Um, Definitely told you guys in the email, don't lose this because you're not getting another one. And I'm like,
but it too expensive to print new ones.
well, no, because they don't want people to like, oh, I lost it. Oh, here's another one.
I mean,
Now you have two.
I mean, there's technology to get around this, but okay.
I get that. Well, they don't actually, because they don't scan them all every time you go in. So I'm like, well, can I just buy another one? He goes, yeah, over there. I'm like, okay, fine. And I was a little stressed out about it, whatever. And so I walk over like very slowly, kind of like
like
uh
Charlie Brown.
yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I guess I gotta buy another badge. Mine fell. I don't know where it is. I don't know what happened. I literally only had it for 10 minutes. Or maybe it was 2. I don't know. And as I'm like talking to her and she's like, the guy's like yelling for her on the other end. And he's like, oh, I think they found it. I'm like, what? So I go over them like, yeah, somebody just turned in a badge. Let me see your ID again. Let's make sure this is yours. He scans it, and it was mine, apparently.
Oh.
So somebody actually did the right thing and turned it in, or he wanted to see if I would actually just go pay to get in. You know what I mean? I don't know. I there's this part of me that's like, there's no way somebody found a media badge on the ground and just brought it back, unless it was one of the like employees that works there.
Somebody doesn't have faith in humanity.
I want to, but then there's also the side of me that's like, maybe it was a test, and I passed.
Really? You think the plausible scenario? You think it's more plausible that that they decided just to randomly test your loyalty or whatever, rather than just some employee found your badge?
I think it's because I wasn't like rude about it. Like, I don't know. In my head, I push back. I'm like, is there anybody else? Is there anybody we could talk to? He goes, me. I'm the guy. I'm like, all right. Well, I guess I just got to pay to get in. No big deal. Like, I've been there. I'm like, I've been to every one. I have all my badges here, and I'm like, all right, well, thanks. So I just wasn't like rude about it. I wasn't like a Karen about it. I just
yeah. I mean, you did ask to speak to the manager.
I listen. But I didn't say it in a way like that was condescending.
Right.
I just, is there anything else? Anybody else we could talk to?
You did it in a nice way.
Yeah. So I don't know, but maybe somebody really did turn it in. It's just weird because like it went from like, honestly, like 2 minutes passed, and in that 2 minutes, somebody turned it in. That's the part that keeps spinning in my head. Like,
you don't what much more interesting and weird things have happened, Jay. Just go with it.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. I got in. Everything's fine. My stress wore out, and yeah, we had a good enough time. Like I just, it's hard having been to so many of them and knowing what they used to be like. And even last year was seemed like it was more packed and there were more things, but this year it really does feel like everybody's like, nah, we don't need to do this anymore. And I just disagree. I think you really do. I really think there is something to be said for these events. Like, I think there's value there.
It's going to be it's going to be packed in the future, Jay. It's just not in the way that you're used to, Boomer. They're going to be having these, and they're basically going to be hosting these in Fortnite. You're going to plug into your VR and log into Fortnite, and you're going to go into these events.
I just don't think it's the same, though.
It's not. But I mean, like, wait until the Neuralink gets gets cooked up, and you can feel things in virtual reality. It'll be just you won't miss it at all.
It definitely convinced me that I'm not going to E3 though. Like I got approved for my E3 badge, and I'm not going. There's no way I'm gonna spend money to fly out there and go to a hotel and all that if all these companies aren't gonna be
Oh
there.
yeah, they're not going.
Because
They're not.
huh?
Yeah, they're definitely not. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The only
Yeah, no, they've already said they're not. So
oh,
like that's the point where I'm like, all right, well, this isn't worth it then,
for sure.
because like I don't want to go there, do everything in one day, and there's not even like vendors or anything there. You know, it's literally just all game companies showing their stuff.
Is
You
it
know,
Ubisoft is there, right?
maybe, but like I'm not going there. I like Ubisoft. I love what they've got coming. I've worked with them before,
Of course.
but I'm not. I'm not. I think I'm actually considered an Ubisoft creator.
So
So I'm like in their creator program. It's just
the only
everything they keep sending is stuff that's not for me.
the only thing I've E3 I'm looking forward. I think most people look forward to at E3 is the PlayStation showcase, and that's happening literally before E3.
Yeah.
They're just going to just trump E3 by just having their own showcase before.
But I really think it should be more than that, man. I really, and it's not just PlayStation, it's Xbox, it's EA, it's 2K, it's WB, it's all these companies. And if you're gonna do only one, you should at least do E3, because a lot of these companies are right there in California. If you want to convince me that like getting out to Boston, or I mean, for some going up to Seattle isn't that big of a deal. Like if you want to convince me that that's like complicated, then I get it. But I mean, I also saw like a bunch of people that are like Devolver's influencer manager, Clara. Like she was at GDC in San Francisco last night and took a red eye, and she's at Pax East today. You know,
Blame it on the
so
Rona.
like,
Blame it on the Rona. These companies realize that hey, a lot of this isn't really all that necessary. When I was younger, when Jay was still an old man, but when I was a young lad and G4 TV was actually popping, and E3 was like basically the Super Bowl for gaming.
right.
I dreamed of going there because it was crazy. You had thousands of gamers, all these booths, and you had the booth babes, and you had all these cool games, and so it was like this huge deal. And as a nerd, it was like, oh wow, we've really come a long way with this. And now because we're increasingly more online and isolated, companies realize, oh, we could just live stream our own thing. save us
I mean,
save ourselves the trouble.
yeah.
Save ourselves the trouble.
But just think about it though, man. Like everybody used to dream about that, you know? Like I
Yeah.
was the same way. And then I got to go to one and it was freaking awesome. I'm like like you were bumping into people left and right. And it was also the first year that consumers could go, the year that I went, like where they actually sold tickets to it. But like I was there, Lego brought me out. So I was there for Lego Worlds and Lego Dimensions, and I was hanging out at the Lego Worlds booth because I was talking to some of the devs, and one of them actually made my logo in the game. Like so like I was kind of hanging out while that was going on, and freaking Ed Boon comes up with his daughter and sits down at the station like next to me, and like I'm helping his daughter like do things in the game, and I'm freaking meeting Ed Boon, you know what I mean? Like literally the Mortal Kombat creator.
Mr.
So like
Mr. Flex It.
I mean, listen, it's just like, but those are memories that are gonna last with you. You know what I mean? And it's like when I got there the day before, and I had to go in for a meeting, and there's a green room, in the WB section. They had their stage and their setup, and in between they built like a kind of a war room where they had all the mixers and the monitors and everything. They had a little green room for guests, and they're like, "Oh yeah, just come wait in here." And there was this lady there with her husband, a little bit of an older lady, no idea who she was. So we're just talking casually, having good conversations, and we're talking about some of the characters, and she's like, "Oh, so who are some of your favorite characters?" I'm like, "Oh, I love Deadpool." She's like, "Oh, I used to write Deadpool." I'm like, "Oh, no way." She goes, "Yeah, yeah, I'm actually one of the biggest female um writers in comics." And it was oh, fuck, now I'm blanking on it. I literally just had her name.
Bigot.
Um yeah. Um hold on. Famous female comic writer. It's Gail Simone. Gail Simone. I didn't even actually wait for it to come up. So Gail Simone is sitting there, like literally one of the biggest like writers in comics, and like she wrote a lot of the Batgirl stuff that influenced Birds of Prey. Um, like I know they turned that into Harley and everything, but she did a lot of the what do you call it? Black Canary stuff
Right.
with Batgirl and all the Birds of Prey in general. Um, so like, but yeah, she wrote some of my favorite Deadpool stuff. So I'm like just sitting there back there with her and talking and like, oh man, my brother just met you at a Comic-Con in Orlando. And so yeah, I'm like, oh, I texted her, I'm like, hey, do you know who Gail Simone is?
He
And
couldn't.
like
He
I'm
could
like
wait.
she's
He couldn't wait to flex. Holy shit.
no. She's like, oh, let him know. And he's like, oh yeah, I just met her last month. She does this, and this. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sitting with her right now. Like it was, I don't know, like, but like these are memories that like you can't get if they're not there.
Or if you're not,
Like if you're just,
or if you're not an influencer.
well, if you're just no, but like these people are walking around like normal. You know what I mean? Like Tyreek Hill had to walk through the crowd to get there. You know?
True.
Like there's lots of other influencers and people that you're excited about that are walking around there, you know. Like I ran into Sonic Fox at E3.
Shout out to Sonic.
Um
Shout out to Sonic Fox.
yeah, so like, there's lots of really cool things, and that's it's not it's not the same as being on TV. And I don't know. I know that this is not what you planned, but I really feel like it's important for them to get back to being at these live shows. And if they're not going to do PAX, they got to at least do E3. Like there's so much value, I feel, and it's a write off for them. God damn it! Like it's a literal business expense. Take advantage of it.
Oh well.
So
Maybe we'll get someone high up on Sony to come in and you can make your pitch. But
they had a literal like I don't know what kind of car it was, but like Gran Turismo, I think 7 was at the thing, and they had like this $500,000 car just sitting there, like a race car that you could go like take a picture with. They had people walking around dressed as those droids from Horizon, the ones that are kind of like almost like horses with the eye, the Cyclops eye kind of thing.
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like they had like one of those walking around everywhere, and it looked real. I mean, like it was like Sony had this huge tent for MLB The Show. I mean, there was so much going on. Like
yeah.
they had this massive.
I'll see them going back to that.
Yeah, they had this massive setup. They had an actual helicopter with Spider-Man hanging off of it.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, it's much easier for them to just put a guy in a room with green screen and just live stream the curated footage. It saves them. It saves them money.
I know. It's easier, but
it's easier. It saves them money.
Is it better?
I mean, at the end of the day, gamers just want most gamers just want this. They just want to see this stuff. They want trailers, everything like that. There's obviously a culture who do have the privilege of going to see these things in person, who would love that extra experience. But most of the people at home, they just want to see the stuff. And as much as romantic as it was, and as cool as it was, just to see that, because it was like an event follow. I think people have adapted, and as long as they deliver some cool games, people will have fun in their own way instead of going there and and participating. People, set up their own live streams and watch and follow along, and that's fun too. And even though it sucks for the people who want E3 or who aren't going to go to E3 that Sony's not going to be there, PlayStation Showcase is still going to be lit, as I'm assuming, and that is of course because of Marvel's Spider-Man 2, the most anticipated game probably right now of the year, because it's the game that we know probably the least about compared to all the other games. Like, we got the Diablo 4 beta, Jedi Survivor is out next month. We know a decent amount about Tears of the Kingdom, but only Nintendo nerds care about that. So it's really, when it comes to Spider-Man 2, it's been a lot of mystery, but thanks to the homie Tony Todd, he peeled back the curtain a little bit.
Yeah.
So if you missed it, I covered it on my other channel, but Mr. Tony Todd, I was following the thread along on Twitter. Tony Todd, if you don't know, great actor. Definitely go see Candyman if you haven't. But he's the voice of Venom in Marvel Spider-Man 2. And he was on Twitter. He mentioned something about potentially being jet lagged or something. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, he was responding to fan comments, and Tony Todd was like, "Oh yeah, Spider-Man 2 is dropping in September, and they're going to start doing commercials and everything in August." So, obviously, that created quite a wave because people have been pretty starved for content or information about Spider-Man 2, and he just went ahead and blurted it out. And Insomniac has not officially made a response, but we did get an update. Really well-known industry insider Andy Robinson weighed in on it a little bit. He mentioned that he heard pretty much the same thing in terms of that September release. So he just kind of backed up what Tony Todd was saying there. But fall, September, that's pretty much what we were expecting. That's actually the month the first Spider-Man game came out. So fitting that the sequel they would target that for the same month. Now, in terms of the actual showcase, that's still supposed to be on. We got that from another insider, Jeff Grubb. We are going to be getting another PlayStation showcase. He said it's going to be before E3. So E3 happens in June. So we're potentially looking at May for that PlayStation showcase, which was supposed to happen last year, but apparently the developers weren't ready, according to Grubb. That's why we didn't get it, because I know we were definitely looking for that all year. That's probably one of the reasons people were so disappointed by D23, because they even showed Spider-Man in the sizzle reel and it didn't mention it at all at any point in the presentation, which is weird, but that they just clickbaited like that. But it is what it is. For those that remember from my channel, I streamed the first PlayStation showcase, and that was a lot of fun. A lot of people watched it with me, and we got some really funny clips out of that. Me screaming my head off when that Insomniac logo popped up twice. First when they showed that Wolverine, and then when of course the Spider-Man came out. That now, as much fun as it is to walk around E3 and running to Ed Boon, just even though I was sitting in my home office live streaming that PlayStation showcase, damn, that was fun. I mean, we were going crazy. It was and I feel like every event has been pretty mid since then. Like nothing's comparing. So that's why one of the reasons I'm looking forward to doing another follow up to that PlayStation showcase, because it hasn't been the same. The state of play hasn't been the same. that PlayStation showcase was amazing. That's why so many people watched it. That Spider-Man 2 trailer was massively viewed, and it was really cool to see gamers kind of coming together and just nerding out. And I'm looking forward to that. Now, Jay, you don't have any context in Insomniac, so you're just kind of an outsider. What do you make of all this Marvel Spider-Man 2 business?
I don't want to see anything. I want them to put out a trailer. Okay, it's a minute long, dramatic music, and you can see like dark movement. Okay, and you think it's like Spider-Man or Venom like slowly walking in the shadows, and you're in like the city streets of New York, and then it just goes to a logo, and then it says coming September 8th. I don't even know if that's a Tuesday. Hold on. September.
So
No, we're gonna go late.
so
September 19th,
so,
we'll say.
so Jay just hates gamers. That's what we're.
No, I like surprises. Okay, I don't need a trailer. This game doesn't need a trailer. Like it doesn't need anything. They don't need anybody to tell them anything about anything. Okay, like the people are gonna buy this game no matter what. It's going to sell through the roof, and I think the more they don't show, the better, because then you're going in blind, and you get that like satisfaction of I've never seen any of this. Like that doesn't like excite you at all, like
No.
just to be able to walk into something
you don't need
be like I have no idea what's gonna happen at all.
You don't know, because first of all, we live Insomniac gets the pass because of their track record, but this is a $70 game, and we live, unfortunately, thanks to other developers ruining things for everybody. You live in a time where gamers want to be reassured that their money is going somewhere. Now, they could sell pretty well, and even if they don't do a proper trailer or showcase, but with the nature of the internet now, you know that if we are getting close to launch, and well, we know thanks to Tony Todd's big mouth that they are going to be doing some stuff, but closer to launch at least. But I don't think you have to pull a MCU and show the entire plot in the in the trailer, but it's crazy that to not show anything. I mean, we haven't seen anything, literally anything, since 2020, since 2021.
Absolutely love it. They could literally shadow drop this game tomorrow, and 96.3% of the people that bought Spider-Man or Miles Morales or both will buy this game instantly. No questions asked.
I mean, of course, a shadow drop would be like, oh my, but still,
it literally will not make a difference if they shadow drop it or if they show you 14 trailers between now and then.
If they show you trailers, it's undeniably going to build more hype and drive more sales. That's why people do it. But you don't have to show the entire plot. Just show. I think game companies, bare minimum, should have a reveal trailer and a gameplay trailer, like a real gameplay. Show it. I mean, most that like Insomniac can get away with a little more because they have a track record, but developers, they like showing their stuff off anyway, and I think it's just good practice for the sake of transparency to say, hey, I respect your time, I respect that you're a gamer, you're spending your hard-earned money on our product when eggs cost like $30.
Not anymore.
The least you can do is show you some gameplay, show off what we have, so you have an idea of what you're getting into and can get you excited. That's all. They don't have to go too crazy. They don't have to go too crazy. They can do what they've done with their other releases. But when it comes to the showcase, just show us some show us some gameplay, little scissor reel, give us a release date, and keep it moving.
I would agree with that sentiment if it weren't for the fact that the average Spider-Man fan is a gigantic cunt.
I mean, you're not wrong, but I feel like we shouldn't punish the good people like me and you because of the chronically online shitheads who who ruin everything and want to complain about puddles and Tobey Maguire suits.
just show me the collector's edition that I'll be buying and call it a day. That's all I need. That's all I need. So let me know what collector's edition I'm getting. And yeah, let's just I just love being able to experience everything in the moment. Like I hate, like you mentioned, the MCU trailers, notorious for giving it all away.
Yes.
You know, like in so many ways, and I hate it. And I've done a pretty good job lately of just not watching many trailers, you know.
Same.
But like I feel like the reason why we can, and I'm not suggesting, you know, CD Projekt Red does this with The Witcher 4, you know what I mean?
Not after what they did with Cyberpunk.
Yes, exactly. They don't have that leeway, but Insomniac does. And I have 100% faith that they're going to put out just a masterpiece, okay?
Absolutely.
Like there's no doubt in my mind.
Absolutely.
And
Same.
I don't need a trailer for that, you know? I'm like my PlayStation 5 is ready to go. It's red like Spider-Man. Let's just do this, okay? I don't need this big song, song and dance, this big show, right? Just show me as little as you can and let me go in and just experience it. Like to me that's the ultimate. Like going in, like I don't want to like say, oh, I remember this from the trailer, you know?
Yeah, I'm the exact opposite. I don't need a lot, but I recognize the importance of properly setting things up and giving us a little tease. Now, again, you don't have to show the full plot. You can show us pretty much mostly what we got. Like we know Venom is a villain. You can save the boss fight for the game. We don't care. We know, but you know it'd be cool to give another glimpse of him outside the shadows of the alley. But you don't need to show the set piece boss fight. We can wait for that. We assume Kraven the Hunter. I mean, we pretty much know it's Kraven the Hunter, but they can legitimately just show a CG trailer of another CG look of Venom. You know, outside of the dark alley, so we get a better look at his body because we already have a decent idea of what he looks like. Just give a little more of that, and show us Miles and Peter beating the shit out of some enemies and swinging around, maybe, and call it a day.
I am definitely paying for this collector's edition. I don't know anybody over there. I mean, I bought the Gotham Knights collector's edition, and then they sent me another one a month later.
Privilege.
So, well, I mean, it's sitting on my table unopened. So what is that? You know, like listen, if I want something, I'm just gonna buy it. I'm not gonna count on ever getting anything for free because I don't have contacts with everybody. I'm definitely
shocking.
Like last Spider-Man, I bought the PS4 Pro and I bought the collector's edition. You know, I wanted it, I bought it.
Sure.
And if I didn't, I wouldn't have gotten it because I don't know anybody with PlayStation or Insomniac. I mean, I know I follow the community manager guy, but like he doesn't know me from a hole in the wall.
James and Aaron.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, I don't know James really, but I've talked to Aaron a little bit. We talk a little bit. I've been in his live streams. He's pretty chill guy. But
yeah,
shout to Aaron and his excellent taste in music.
But like the thing of it is that like a lot of these big games like that are just like everybody's going to be trying to get it. So like I'm not counting on that, you know what I mean? But back to the bigger point, you know what I mean? Like
you just gave me an idea too. I gotta we should get Aaron on the podcast.
Well, I'm down.
Let's grill
There
Aaron.
you go.
Let's
There you go.
grill Aaron about Spider-Man 2.
There we go. But like I don't need trailers anymore, man. I like a very general trailer. Give me a little taste, and then that's good enough for me. You know, there are obviously certain games where you have to like you don't trust these companies because they don't have as good a track record.
I can legitimately name them off on one hand, possibly even two figures. So, like if Sucker Punch, Insomniac, and I don't think there's anyone else I would trust without mate. Like if I was a bigger God of War fan, I'd throw in Santa Monica. I know Gorilla delivers on quality so far with Horizon, though. Didn't enjoy the Forbidden West story as much, but the game was undoubtedly high quality. But in terms,
didn't they do Killzone?
I don't remember, but I know for sure when it comes to a studio that I would just go in blindly, it's basically Sucker Punch and Insomniac. And like those in terms of studios where no matter what game they're launching, I could just say, "Yep, I'll trust it." Like it doesn't matter if I'm familiar with the IP or not. Yep, I'm right there with a show. Give me a teaser. I'm good to go. Insomniac and Sucker Punch are the only ones that could possibly get away with that. I would not, definitely not Crystal Dynamics. I don't care if Crystal Dynamics does a full 2-day deep dive where they go through the entire development process of the game and all their investors, every plot detail. I am not fucking touching Tomb Raider Unreal 5 with a 10-foot pole. It's absolutely no chance in hell I'm touching another Crystal Dynamics product. It's not fucking happening. No way. No how. I don't care if they're using Jeff Bezos' money. It ain't happening. Not a chance in hell. Sucker Punch, though, they've earned it between the Infamous games and the best game ever made, Ghost of Tsushima. They've earned it. Insomniac with their long history, Ratchet and Clank, Spyro, Spider-Man, all that. They get the benefit of the doubt. If it's Insomniac we trust, they get the special treatment. Anyone else? Give me a trailer. Give me some gameplay. Give me devs going over the gameplay separately. Give me gameplay on all the platforms that you're releasing it on. Give me that gameplay raw and uncut, like my cocaine. give me all of it. I don't trust you. You can thank CD Projekt Red. You can thank EA with Anthem. You can sure as hell thank Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics. The trust is gone. You can't trust these people. you just can't anymore. You gotta, especially when we're talking $70 price tags. You gotta show us what we got to look forward to, because too many studios decided to get cute, and they were like, well, we know we made a piece of shit. We know we didn't take the time to polish this, but we're going to sell it for full price anyway, and we're going to instead try to manipulate it so that people will pre-order it and not have to, and we don't have to disclose it. Now we ain't doing that no more. we in a perfect world we can just show a little trailer and keep it moving, but we ain't in that world no more. We're in a world where $70 games launch broken. we can't do it. we can't do it anymore. Show us the goods, and then we'll make that purchasing decision. That's just how it is, Jay.
And again, I'm only suggesting this for one of those few studios that you mentioned. You know what I mean? And because the average Spider-Man fan is a shithead.
Yeah, but that goes to show you, if Insomniac did do this, if they went with the Jay Shockglass approach, the narrative going into Spider-Man 2 then would be, what is Insomniac hiding? What are they doing? Is it getting delayed? If it's not getting delayed, is it going to be buggy? Is it going to be broken? What are they hiding? What do they have to hide? Why aren't they? Where's the gameplay? It's been 2 years. Where are the screenshots? Why aren't they showing anything? You can't take one screenshot. What are they hiding? That's going to be the narrative, and it's going to distract from the actual launch of the game.
Yeah, and they could all sit in their offices, sipping their tea, laughing their balls off.
I mean, they can and should do that, but I don't think that's necessarily fair to the rest of the fans who've been waiting since 2021. I mean,
you'll get the game, and you'll forget all about all that stuff.
Yeah, but
especially when you're on your 14th 100% playthrough.
But God forbid, if launch happens and something's wrong, and they did the whole fuck you, we're not showing you anything, then now we have a problem.
I think I might actually laugh even harder if that happened, to be honest with you. Like, haha, this is what you get.
I mean, oh man, I can't wait to see that.
I'm on my villain arc.
I can't wait to see that ratio. Because it would be fierce.
Yeah.
Like because in that case it's like, okay, we did the patient thing, we let y'all not show anything, and then when you launched, you didn't deliver. So then is another issue. But I am too confident. I am also confident that Spider-Man 2 is going to be a classic. But as a fan, I still want to see something else. I don't want to see. I want to have us. We're working on the same images from 2021 for this game. Like I'm all for a little bit of mystery, but I don't want to be. I want to be one of those people, especially a content creator, that normalizes a lack of transparency when it comes to developers and player relations. I want the developer and player relationship to get better, and I think there's definitely a balancing act there. There's definitely a way to, build hype and keep a mystery without giving too much away or being too secretive and giving players Avengers PTSD.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. My big thing with that though is that there's so much gamer entitlement. I don't know what that line is anymore. Like, I just feel like so many of these people, like not just Spider-Man people, like there's just so many, just like you give an inch, they expect a mile, So
I know exactly. I know exactly what the line is. Ignore the dickheads on Twitter. Do the PlayStation Showcase like you're supposed to. Do your commercials in August. Launch in September. Done.
All right. Well, I'm fine with that. I just hope they don't show too much.
Yeah, for the sake of Jay Shockglass's fifis, don't reveal too much when you're doing your commercials and your promo. But at the same time, don't leave your real fans hanging, and do some proper marketing. Obviously Sony's going to have the last say in this regard. They definitely aren't going to fuck around when it comes to their marketing, because they're really counting on Spider-Man 2 to be a big seller. Like when it comes to their first party stuff, Sony is very serious. They want the main thing to them that's making them the market leader and separating them from Lbox is the fact that if you get a PlayStation, you're getting these amazing exclusive games, and they do not want to mess around with that. So I'm expecting something crazy at the
I hope the first thing Xbox does when Activision becomes X Division is they take PlayStation or they take Call of Duty right off PlayStation.
I mean, that would be,
and they would deserve it. They would absolutely deserve it.
It'd be absolutely hilarious. I mean, I'm all for it. I mean, I would love to see Lbox lose all that money and get all that backlash.
No, because I like this is exactly what happened though when PlayStation took over. Like the reason why PlayStation is fighting so hard is because they know that when they struck that exclusivity deal, like everybody shifted over to PlayStation. That's when the migration happened, because when Xbox had all that early access to all the Call of Duty stuff, like that's when 360 was dominating.
Mm-hmm.
And then that like Call of Duty can shift that line a little bit. And you know,
which is sad, which is sad because Call of Duty is dog water.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't play it anymore, man. I literally like I have a whole row right there that's just every Call of Duty, and then like it stops at some point because I just don't play it anymore.
The crazy thing is, I've been watching. I've been on Twitter randomly. People have been sharing Fortnite clips from their like new build mode, their new creator mode, and they've been creating like some really cool stuff. Some people were creating like new Call of Duty maps within Fortnite that looks a million times better than everything I've ever seen in Call of Duty. I'm just like,
and you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy about that is this just further shows you how like lost Crystal Dynamics was with Avengers. Because like the reason they're able to do this is because that's just the power of Unreal Engine.
Yes.
They're like, here, have Unreal Engine. Look how easy it is. Even your average Fortnite player can create a masterpiece with it. You know, we give you the tools. There you go. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that will go down. Avengers, funny enough, last update is next week. Wow, what a fumble! I mean, books can be written on that fumble, but yeah, that just goes to show that when it comes to games, like when it just err on the side of the consumer, like try to build that relationship, you know, give them good products, give them tools, you know, give them what they want. Like I saw on Twitter, Bob was dunking on thirsty Apex fans because Apex apparently was teasing Loba bikini skin.
Yeah.
and people obviously started going crazy for it, and then they revealed the skin. They literally just trolled them. I think she was like wearing some pretty ugly summer outfit. She was basically wearing a shirt and jeans. and I was and they were like, haha, dunk on the horny fans. But to me it's like I don't understand the mindset of just looking down on your fans. Me, I may obviously call out the dickheads, but I'm mainly in the camp of make good products, provide a good service, and you'll build a lot of loyalty, and just give the players what they want, because at the very least you'll be rewarded with money. like to me that to me, if I was in charge at Apex, I'm like that. To me, that's a no-brainer. Like if I'm at Respawn, I'm like, oh, they want a Loba bikini skin? Sure, I'd like to make $20 million today. Put it out. Instead of trolling on Twitter, I'm like, oh yeah, I'd like to make millions of dollars.
But the problem is, and this is an interesting like case study, I guess. I mean, they are that studio though, where like I believe one of their actual in-game characters is transgender. You know what I mean? Like they push those boundaries. So like it actually is kind of feels like in their wheelhouse to actually dunk on the thirsty dudes that
Absolutely.
are obviously who makes up the people that play their game, but
Absolutely. And the result of that sort of thing is people are going to move on to another game.
yeah.
like that. Like
And that's me right now. I love Apex Legends. I
yeah,
really enjoy playing
yeah.
that game,
Auto.
especially.
Yeah. I never played it, but I'm like, but I can appreciate it because it's like, okay, all those horny dudes you're making fun of, all right, they're just going to go to Genshin then. Like,
Yeah, they actually just had a. So Apex Legends is one of those games that is baffling to me because like the people that play it passionately, but like their events are called collection events, and in these collection events, the goal is to spend money.
that
Okay,
sounds
they
bad.
put out yes, like they put out all these like skins and things, and you have to buy loot boxes to get them. And there's like I think like 20 items, and if you get all 20 items, you get like this super premium item at the end. Sometimes it's like a special skin that you can only get that way. A lot of times it's an heirloom, and that's how they introduce the heirlooms, which is basically just a special melee weapon for each individual character. And in order to do these collection events, unless you are grinding like an absolute massive amount, you're spending a minimum of $120. And they do these events like every 6 to 8 weeks. So like they just started a new collection event. The events are 2 weeks long, and this one was a very Japanese themed. Like all the items were like kind of Japanese themed. So like I went in, I had just gotten like a gift card from Xbox. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll just spend that on this. Even though I'm not really playing the game, I do want these for
Right.
like eventually if I do come back and play.
Right.
So I went and I bought them, but it's like, damn, it just every time they do these things, like because I've completed the events a number of times just because I wanted the heirloom, and because the heirloom's pretty cool. I love Apex Legends as a game. It's a fun game, and it's the whole battle pass thing, like I know I'm not finishing them, and it's like I gotta check out of some of those games. And I mean I play a lot with Free Willy and my buddy Madman, but like they're not always playing it. So it's like playing it alone, solo, not as fun.
Yeah, that is why players are skeptical when it comes to the battle passes because they don't like that FOMO. They don't want to, especially if it's so aggressively monetized. Like
Yeah, I think it was you. I think in the last show you said something that really resonated with me, where we were talking about how Halo does the battle pass, where at it doesn't expire. Like they've got their new battle pass, it's out. If you get it, you got it. Good. All right. But like I feel like every battle pass should be that way, and then like maybe just the premium currency expires because you know like I'll use Fortnite as an example. You get V Bucks through the 100 tiers of the battle pass, you probably get like 1,000 V Bucks. Well, if you don't complete it during the season, those V Bucks, those rewards are just blank now. You know, but otherwise, so there has to be some FOMO.
of
So it can't
course,
just be I'm gonna buy the next 3 battle passes and stack them, and then I'll play like hard for a season and do 3 battle passes at a time. Um,
yeah, because
so there has to be
yeah,
something.
because Avengers had negative FOMO. like you had your battle passes were the challenge cards, but the challenge cards only came with heroes, which didn't came unfortunately weren't released that often, and they were time gated, but there was no time limit, so you could just do them whenever you wanted, and then when they were done, that was it. They didn't refresh. There was
Yep.
nothing to do the next month. There's nothing to collect. There's nothing to chase after that. It was just you do it and it's done, and then you just wait for the next character to drop. And as the game went on, the rewards on that challenge card got increasingly shittier to the point where it was, even though it was a free grind, it wasn't even really worth doing it, or at least rushing through it. I remember with
increasingly irrelevant.
yeah,
because
they were shit. Like I remember with Bucky when his came out, I looked at it, was like, oh, this is everything on here is dog water, and I didn't even bother to grind, and I still finished it in like a week. Like, I was seeing people complain like, why did it take so long to do the challenge? I'm like, bro, I'm literally finished it without even trying. Just playing the game regularly. It was just like this is like there's definitely a way to do it, because you don't want to have too much FOMO, because that definitely rubs players the wrong way. It can drive some away, but you definitely don't want to have none, because you want it is a live service game, so you want people to keep coming back to it. Maybe we don't know how Suicide Squad would have handled that. Hopefully, if that game ever comes out, they'll handle it well. But I'm glad that for the time being, we don't have to worry about Insomniac doing any live service games. So there are reports that they're working on a multiplayer game. We don't know if it's going to be Marvel related though, but so far single player, and the most we have to worry about is which Tobey Maguire skin are they're going to bitch about, and the new thing is how playable is Miles Morales, because that's a whole new thing now, because people are saying, well, this is Peter's sequel, so I don't want to play Miles. I want to play with Peter. I don't want to. If Miles should get his own sequel. That's the whole thing now. So people are worried that they're going to be forced to play with Miles for certain missions, and they're wondering how that's going to split. They want there. I know there are some players who want to just have the option of playing Peter and maybe have Miles in one or two missions. I think based on what they're establishing, it makes sense to have basically like some missions be like Peter and Miles specific, and for the rest, it's just Peter, and you can basically switch whenever you want.
I mean, I'd rather play as Miles than Mary Jane. Jesus.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, personally, unless they add the symbiote, or which they hope they do for Peter, Miles is more fun to play anyway. Like the game, my hot take has been that Miles Morales is a better game than Spider-Man PS. Purely from a gameplay standpoint.
He has like some different abilities that are obviously a little cooler. I get that, but I agree. I would actually kind of I keep like slipping in my chair, and I bought like a new floor mat, and I hated the other one because like the wheels would get stuck in all the ridges. So I bought a smooth one, and I'm finding out that like this one I just like it has no traction. So sorry, that's why I keep adjusting.
Yeah.
Anyway,
have a cushion too.
I would rather play as Peter personally, because that's my Spider-Man. Like I like Miles a lot, and I would love another Miles solo game.
Sounds about white.
Yeah, right. But I would say the same thing if it was like Gwen. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. Like I have no problem if there's missions you do as Miles. Like it really doesn't matter to me. But I want this to be Peter's game, with Miles as a side piece. You know what I mean? And that's kind of. But I wouldn't make a big deal about it. Like if even if we like were Peter's 66% and Miles 33, or even if it was like 51-49. It's going to be an amazing game. You're going to play as Spider-Man, and Spidey, which is what they almost changed his name to.
Ugh.
Yeah, they definitely, fortunately, did not do that.
I prefer Kid Iraq that dog water.
Yeah, I don't think there are many good choices, but I would prefer if Miles kind of got his own identity.
For sure.
But I think they use Spider-Man has become a crutch for Marvel. When in doubt, just create a new Spider character.
Pretty much.
And I hate that. I get like it's too late now. Like the cat's out of the bag. There's no going back. But like to me, it makes Peter Parker less special. Like if there's just 47,000 different versions of other people being the same character, and it's lazy.
Yeah, I think that gets to a bigger issue with Marvel, which we'll get into next, because there's a lot wrong all around, not just Disney Marvel, but in the comics as well. There's just a lack of there's definitely seems to be a lack of creativity, lack of direction, lack of effort, and we first saw that really manifesting in the comics. As the MCU was thriving and taking off, the comics were going in the exact opposite direction. And now that the MCU has been increasingly drawing to the comics, we're starting to see them get closer to each other, and that gets us into what happened recently, which a pretty huge shakeup in the comic world. They fired Victoria Alonso. Now, I don't know how familiar you are with Victoria, but she's basically been with Marvel, with the MCU from, I think she was, she thinks she had a production credit on the first Iron Man movie. She's been there pretty much the entire time in some capacity. She's gradually built herself up and climbed the ladder. She was, she's pretty famous in the MCU circles of the internet, because she was a big advocate for diversity and inclusion in the MCU, and we've seen it have mixed results. But I think the biggest thing is that she was basically in charge of
VFX.
the VFX, and we got reports about how crazy that was. We have this in the article from the Direct. There were accusations in Marvel's. She was a big part of Marvel's quote unquote toxic work environment, and the stories were pretty concerning. Like it's why I felt it was like really gross that they doing a joke about the VFX team in She-Hulk, like it was as the scandal was coming out. So the way it goes, they announced her departure, and then immediately people began speculating, and then it came out that she was actually fired. And this, I would guess, this more so has to do with the fact that Marvel has been Disney specifically has been losing a lot of money, especially on these Marvel projects, which used to be like guaranteed breadwinners, and the quality has noticeably dropped to the point that even casual fans are pointing it out. And I'm guessing she just ended up being the scapegoat, but from what we've heard, she was definitely a very real antagonist when it comes to all this. There were reports from VFX artists that she would basically blackball you if you got out, if she didn't like you, if you got online. But the main problem that they reported on with Marvel is that they just didn't have their shit together. They reported that they were unorganized. They would basically do these projects where they come to the VFX department and say, okay, this is the thing that we want, and make that. And then the VFX do it, and then they come back and say, actually, we don't want that at all. Do this completely different. And they would end up doing the same thing several times over and over again.
You froze.
Yeah.
There, you're back.
You're back. They would end up doing the same thing over and over again. And meanwhile, they would add more projects on top of that. and the VFX team got so bad that they were reportedly sleeping at their desks because they didn't have time with the workload to even go home. One they said one of the main reasons was that they would have these ridiculous amounts of reshoots. They blame that on Alonso as well, and Marvel just generally being incompetent and going way over budget with these projects. Like a example we heard come out was for Wakanda Forever and Ant-Man. People noticed that the CGI in Ant-Man was kind of ass, as well as the fact that they had reshoots up until a month before the thing even came out with the ending game change, as because they had reportedly had the VFX team working on Wakanda Forever and Ant-Man at the same time, and it didn't give them the opportunity to do both and give it the attention that they needed. And then on top of that, they kept asking for reshoots for Ant-Man, and studios bake in reshoots. This is just a common thing. You know, stuff happens, you sometimes reshoot. But when it came to Marvel, what reportedly happened is that they would reshoot often entire acts, sometimes even the whole thing. And that just sounds like it comes from a lack of leadership and people being in positions of authority who are not qualified to be there and don't really know what they're doing. Because if you know what you're doing, you wouldn't have to do that many reshoots. You wouldn't have to work the VFX department. You would come there with a very clear vision, and then you could just make some small adjustments or whatever as needed. But it is very unusual to do as many reshoots as Marvel has been doing, and it makes sense why now there's some accountability, because the budgets are inflating, the VFX team is unhappy, now is reflecting in the quality of products, and on top of that, the products aren't even making money. I mean, Ant-Man right now will be lucky to break even, and now the Marvels just got delayed again. This is the 5th time, and that's looking like it's a moneymaker. So it's a lot going on over at Marvel, Mr. Shockblast. Do you think this Victoria Alonso firing is a sign that maybe they're riding the ship, or do you think they're just going to kind of they're just kind of reshuffling the deck chairs of Titanic here?
I definitely thought that this was a good sign up until literally when we started the show, because I think it came out just as we were starting the show that the reason she was actually fired is because she was working on some other movie, some non-Marvel project without permission, and she didn't tell anybody. That
Argentina, 1985.
1985. Yeah. So that's if that's the actual reason, and maybe they're just using that as a way for a break without, like, a firing with cause kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you breached your contract.
Come on, Jeff. Let's be honest. They don't give a fuck about Argentina. This woman repeatedly, from what we heard, there was a huge toxic work environment of abuse and mismanagement that led to Marvel budgets ballooning way out of proportion, noticeably bad product, and decisions whether you like it or not, when it comes to the diversity inclusion stuff. All these products didn't make money. People didn't like them. They didn't go see them. The budgets were inflated. The quality of the effects went down, and more people were turning on Marvel and Disney. And to me, they needed a scapegoat, and they had the perfect one with Victoria Alonso, because she was spearheading a lot of this stuff. They need to get rid of her, but they didn't want to admit is because Marvel has gone to shit. The MCU has gone to shit, so they had to come up with a plausible reason.
all that's fine, but like, you can get fired for being bad at your job, and like that they still owe you for that. But if you get fired for breaching your contract, they can attempt to not like pay you your severance and anything that you might have been due otherwise. So I think it's probably a combination of both. You know, like
I don't think
I think
the Argentina. I don't think they cared at all about the Argentina thing. I literally don't. I don't
bet
think it
like
had any factor in her actually fired. I think if they said that they fired her because of the MCU, it would open up a whole can of worms, and they didn't want to have it. I'm sure Victoria knows where some bodies are buried. They just wanted something they can say, okay, this specifically is something that you violated your agreement on. There's no weaseling out of this. This is nothing to do with Marvel. We don't want to draw attention to we don't want to draw any attention to the quality of the MCU. That's
gonna happen anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that like it doesn't matter. That's gonna happen anyway. I honestly think if you don't think that like a company that allowed this to get to that point to begin with isn't going to be counting every little nickel, you're crazy because if I'm sure that she's worked herself to a level where her compensation is nothing to shake a stick at.
Of course.
And if they can use this to not have to give her a golden parachute, I would too. You know what I mean?
This is
save face a little bit.
Of course, this is clear because we saw the thing is we saw the spin happening in real time. First, it was she was departing, she was leaving, and it's like leaving, it was voluntary. Then when it started coming out that actually this was probably a firing and it was about the VFX scandal. Then they put out some BS story about how, well, actually, according to this executive that we got in the VFX department, that's probably friends with her, it's not that bad. the employees were treated well, and that's the thing is they framed the show media framed it as they were debunking the claims, but if you read the quote, he basically said, it doesn't feel right. I mean, it doesn't feel like something that would happen to me. Like, it doesn't feel. That's not refuting the reports. That's not debunking it. That's literally used to say, I don't like how that sounds. Like, who gives a shit how you feel about it? Either it happened or it didn't. Like,
yeah,
they didn't interview a single employee. They interviewed an executive and the actors who had absolutely shit all to do with the VFX. They just stand in front of a green screen and say lines. They don't know what's going on in the VFX departments. That's not their job. They're not there. They're not in those rooms. They have no idea what the environment is like. They're just paid to say words. Like, so I could definitely see that this was PR. So when that didn't work, because obviously immediately people tore that story apart. Now it's actually it's because she was working on this movie that no one cares about and didn't mention it, even though Disney obviously knew she was working on it. Like, come on.
Yeah, I listen. I agree with you. It's probably a little bit of both, but yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I'm glad that there's a shakeup happening though, because like, no matter what, you're gonna get too comfortable, at some point. And it's good to have a little bit of change every once in a while. And I mean, the VFX has definitely been suffering. I think it's suffering everywhere though. Like Shazam, I actually my brother wanted to actually go see it in the theater, and that movie had some issues too.
Oh yeah, there was some scenes that were egregiously bad, as I pointed out in my mini view. But that also came with it's funny. It's always funny calling a low budget. I mean, it had a budget of $125 million, but for a superhero movie, that's considered low budget. Especially because everything in Hollywood's inflated anyway because of the bureaucracy and the fees. But it was $125 million budget, and I think to me, apart from a couple of scenes where the CGI is just egregiously awful, they seem to go a lot more with the practical effects. And the practical stuff just was also dog water. So so to me, that was more of a skill issue than anything.
I really liked the mid-credit scene but it has no payoff. But the after credit scene, I, I honestly feel like it's already been kind of spoiled, because of the whole Rock versus Shazam thing. The Rock took an L this week. I guess we're kind of maybe transitioning this. I don't know if this was planned or not, but
actually, yeah, I was gonna bring that up. I think we have the article somewhere here, but yeah,
yeah, The Rock apparently vetoed being in that after credit scene, and I'm not gonna lie. When they start zooming in on the dude's head, I'm like, oh my god, do they really have Shazam here? I'm sorry, Black Adam. And then they turn it around and it's freaking the dude from the first movie. And I'm like, oh, nobody cares about him.
yeah, it was another freaking Mr. Mind tease that's never paying off.
Yeah, so like, I honestly, The Rock, I don't get it, man. I just don't like. He really like acted like Black Adam was fucking Superman, like in level of importance. Like, don't get me wrong, Black Adam's a good villain, but like if we were ranking the hierarchy of the DC supervillain universe, I don't think Black Adam is gonna make a lot of people's top fives, let alone top 10. Is he one of the most powerful? Sure. But I don't think many people are going to have him up there. He's kind of boring, to be honest with you. But like The Rock tried to turn him into something way more than he was and tried to make him like almost the single most important character in all of DC, really. Apparently, because apparently he can't even randomly be in 30-second after credit scene against his number one rival in the comics.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I love the Rock, but he's definitely holding out for this one. Not only did he not seem particularly interested in having Black Adam go against Shazam, which is literally one of the main points of the character. That's his biggest enemy. But reports are coming out that he vetoed the post credit scene for the mid credit scene for Shazam. Apparently, originally it was supposed to have Hawkman and Cyclone come to recruit Shazam to join the Justice Society, and
made more sense.
Which did make more sense. But the reason they had two Peacemaker characters, people were dunking on James Gunn, saying, "Oh, James Gunn's wife." But apparently, the reason is because James Gunn's wife was there is because the Rock literally just was like, "Well, no, we don't want anyone from my movie, my massive flop of a movie to be his post credit scene." Now, to be fair to the great one, the Brahma Bull, the DCU Shazam kind of sucks ass. Let's be honest. Like the problem, I can definitely see why he would rather Black Adam have a rivalry with Superman. Like not only did they, Superman and Shazam and Black Adam cross paths in the comics most times, and they were, epic events, but Henry Cavill's Superman is much cooler than the DCU Shazam because one of the things that worked for and against Shazam is that it was a departure from the usual nihilistic, desaturated projects that we're getting out of the Snyderverse. But the flip side is they went a little too Marvel with it.
But that's also the character for Shazam. He's a kid, and it's like Big with Tom Hanks.
But that's the problem. They didn't even do that right because Shazam and Billy are two different people, and it's in reverse. Like the thing with Shazam was supposed to be it's a kid who transforms into this adult with superpowers, and and it's a classic imposter syndrome case because he's literally actually a child, and his struggle is to try to fake that and live up to that. But in the DCU Shazam, he's more mature as a kid than he is when he transforms. Like it makes like in fact.
Yeah, no, I understand. I agree with that.
He's like, first of all, he's not even like a child. Like he's 17 now in this movie. But even in the first one, he was just really, gritty, just broody, mature, grounded kid that went through a lot. And then when he transforms into Shazam, he acts like he's 10. And he's gotten worse in this one. Like he's like it makes no sense. And the solution, instead of taking that criticism and adjusting it, they just basically double down. They just say, okay, well, we'll instead have less Billy in the movie and more grown-up Shazam, and keep the same level of maturity and nonsense. Like apparently no one has the wisdom of Solomon. Like, so I don't even know why they kept bringing that shit up. No, literally no one has it. No one here is wise.
Yeah, I feel you've seen Big, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe today's generation wouldn't get the reference, but and I do agree. I understand Superman's probably Black Adam's number 2, but like the gap between 1 and 2 is pretty big. I'm just saying that Black Adam, like in The Rock's head, Black Adam is The Rock in WWE, when the reality is he's like Hacksaw Jim Duggan. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
right.
I think the Rock's whole thing was like, it's not, Black Adam or whatever. It's like, I'm The Rock, who also happens to be playing like The Rock, is the superstar here, and
the hierarchy in the DC universe is about to change.
Oh, that's he's never living that one down. You can't say you
Can
can't
we back up for a second?
Can't say shit like that and flop that bad.
You brought up James Gunn's wife. Can we just talk about how like blessed that man is? Okay, because like it's not often that you can like. I mean, she's an attractive woman, but like he was married to Jenna Fisher before this, right?
From The Office.
Yes. Like,
good for him.
That's like 2. That's 2 for 2. like a little jealous.
You think they're gonna make it a switch, Jay?
Listen, my wife knows that Pam from The Office is the only one I'm allowed to step out on. So
really?
if I ever get the green light,
to borrow a joke from Arrested Development, her.
Yeah.
Like,
can't help it.
I love Pam. I love The Office. I love Pam, but if it comes to a hall pass, I feel like I'd aim higher. I feel like I want someone that's like, oh, there's like no chance of this happening.
Well, I mean, I still feel like that's obviously the case, but anyway.
I mean, personally, maybe you're looking down at something. I feel like you have. I feel like if you came through with some decent ridge, you have like a 30% chance of bagging Jenna Fisher, just as you are as Jay Shotglass.
I'll take it.
All
right, yeah. I guess let's everybody call out your hall pass. You know what I mean? Nia Long. I mean, freaking Nia
Long was a lot of black males hall passes growing up,
and one of them took a hall pass on her.
Yeah, for
many hall passes for some very basic ass white women.
Very I mean, not your typical basic, just fucking the executive's daughter or something.
No, the executive's wife.
The executive's wife. Yeah, you worse.
Yeah.
So it was
like some very boring white women.
Yeah. So it just goes to show you, no matter how fine the woman is, a guy will always find a reason to step to step out. because for I think I've always said it, but for men, it's always about it's not about the quality, it's about the novelty. I'm basically paraphrasing and making it my own. Eastwood's got Jungle Fever for Lapita for sure. He said
Interesting.
Nakia from of course Black Panther, yeah, played by Lapita. Yeah, he's a big Lapita simp.
Listen, if you're gonna correct my Nia, I'm gonna correct your Nakia.
Nakia. I call her Lapita.
Yes.
I call her Lapita. That's what.
Yeah. Anyway,
Pretty sure they can also pronounce it Nakia in the film. So
Nakia.
the pronunciation in Wakanda Forever is all over the place. I mean, just Namor alone, it was
Namor.
Everyone basically called him Namor. He was running around saying Namor. My enemies call me Namor. So I'll never not be cringe.
Nope.
What my hall pass to me, like I've been kind of grown chilling when it comes to celebrity crushes, you know, chalk it up to me getting older. But obviously Jay Shotglass is a huge Nezuko fan, but to me, talking about real women, and she was actually in Shazam. Megan Good. I've been a Megan Good simp literally since I was a child. Ever since I saw her in Cousin Skeeter, I basically grew up with her with Megan Good, and then when she got older and mature, it was like she was just the really cute girl in Cousin Skeeter that I had a crush on, and then she grew up and was just a straight baddie. And just all these years still looks delicious.
All right, you're gonna have to carry for a minute because not only do I have to pee, but Thor is giving me the eyes and he keeps like coming over. So I will be right back.
You do that. I got you.
All right, come on, Thor. Come on.
Your real name is Lapita. Megan is a baddie, but she got skinny. I mean, she didn't look that skinny in that superheroes in that super suit. She looked plenty thick to me. I had no complaints about my only complaint about Megan Good in Shazam Fury of the Gods is that she didn't have enough screen time. They should have did like 20% less Skittle product placement and 40% more Megan Good. Because that to me that was the highlight of Fury of the Gods. The effects were pretty mid. The acting was not particularly anything to write home about. The whole subplot with the third sister looking like a teenager and immediately falling in love with an underage high school kid was weird as hell. There was a lot wrong with that movie. Literally the plot makes no sense and completely contradicts the previous movie. But every time Megan Good was on screen, it gave me the strength to keep watching. And would do 10 out of 10 would do it again. I have watched some absolute mid in my day just because Megan Good was on the cast list. So she definitely would be on my hall pass list because I really care about somebody if I'm willing to sit through just an absolute dog water movie just because they're in it. So for me, Megan Good is that woman. Honorable mention to Zoe Saldana. She's also really high up. Love me some Zoe. haven't been down bad for Zoe as long as I've been down bad for Megan. But I think I started I think I fell for Zoe in. Yeah, pretty sure it was Drumline. Yeah, Drumline definitely classic. Say what you will about Nick Cannon, and you can say a lot about Nick Cannon, but Drumline is an all-time classic, and I will not hear any contradictory opinions. It's the indisputable fact. Drumline is a banger, but that's when I first was put on the Zoe Saldana, and I've been following her career ever since. Love Colombiana. Obviously, she's great as Gamora in Gardens. We definitely stand in Alien Mommy, but yeah, for me, I would put Megan Good above Zoe Saldana in terms of my hierarchy. Oh, look, Jay Shot Glass is back.
I am back. I left Thor outside, so he lives there now. No, I just texted my brother to let him back in. I tried to rush back down.
Monster.
Well, so here's the thing. Like, Thor can go out there and, like, I've literally watched him pee on the deck. It's annoying. And then turn around and come back in. But he can also go out there and take, like, 20 minutes. So I wasn't going to risk that. And I don't, honestly, like you mentioned, oh, you could do better than Pam from The Office. Probably. But, like, you know, there's just that one that sticks with it. You know what I mean?
I understand that you got the warm and fuzzies associated with The Office, everything like that.
Yeah, I can't. You know, it's funny because Alan Johnson from WB tweeted something today, and it was during The Office. Puma, their golf division, did an ad run that, like, I guess never saw the light of day with The Office. It was basically Jim and Pam and Dwight and Ryan Howard. And it was crazy because, like, they're probably the hottest pictures of Jenna Fisher ever. Like, it honestly did not look like a golf ad. It looked like she was an exotic dancer. Like, it was weird.
Jenna Fisher.
Like, I could see why they didn't run it.
That does sound weird. I never picture that. I don't picture Jenna Fisher in that way. I always have this very wholesome image of her from The Office. You know, she was.
Did you ever see? She
Pam.
was in that Blades of Glory, I think.
I remember her from. You know, I think the irony is that I think she was actually in the movie Hall Pass.
He was in. It was like a figure skating movie with.
I remember
Michael C. Riley.
I remember Blades of Glory. It was Will Ferrell and Michael C. Riley. I remember I watched 10 minutes of it and turned it off.
Yeah, well, you didn't get to the only good part of the movie is when you almost got to see some Jenna Fisher.
Oh, I'm fine with that. I think,
but I just showed you the ad. I put the ad. Like, look at that picture of her trying to putt. You can share it with the class if you need to.
Actually, I could pull this up. Did you already make this your wallpaper?
No. I'm past that point.
That's cap. I saw the twinkle in your eyes, Jay.
Well, until today.
She's your hall pass. That's a serious commitment.
Okay, the one with her putting, you look at that, and that is like you understand.
I'll understand. Okay, let's see what they.
Sorry to derail the show, but you wanted some fun content.
What the hell? Jay's not wrong. Hold up.
I know I'm not wrong. Look at that. That is like in her prime. and Jim being Jim.
Look at Jim looks all wholesome and dorky. Yeah, this looks so out of place.
Right?
What the hell
like
is this?
I understand why they didn't run it, but then if you even look at like the next one where she's standing on the table, I mean, she looks a little. It's not the most flattering angle, but like, I don't know.
What the?
Yeah.
This is a weird. This is a weird. This is a weird ad.
Yeah.
The weirdest ad I've ever seen for anything.
But that one right there, that's it basically makes my point.
See it? I still she's no Megan Good, but I can see what you're going for, Jay. I am not mad at it at all.
So yeah, and there she is with Mr. Fantastic,
Mr. Fantastic himself. Well, the former Mr. Fantastic. We don't know exactly what the hell if she is going to do with Reed Richards. It would be nice if he at least directed, but unfortunately, that's not happening either. I'm worried that we're going to have another mid Fantastic Four movie.
we'll see.
I can't, because it's hard to trust Marvel anymore. And on top of that, for some reason they just haven't been able to find a formula and a team that can make the Fantastic Four work in live action. Apparently Eastwood is not impressed with Jenna Fisher.
What? You're crazy. You're crazy.
I'm not blaming Eastwood. He's a fan of the chocolate. Who was Megan Good? Oh, you're in luck, my friend. Hold on. we'll definitely go there. That is Megan Good. She is an actress. She was in Shazam. She is the adult form of one of his siblings. She's been in a ton of projects over the years. And she is definitely my hall pass. I think Eastwood would appreciate her more. He seems to be a fan of the chocolate. Yeah, see,
I guess so.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man of great taste. I'll allow it. I'll allow it. Yeah, this is turning into the Mega Good Show, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Jenna Fisher's great, but when I'm thinking about a hall pass, I'm thinking of a girl. When I see her, I'm like, oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I need a little more of that. Like when I think of Jenna Fisher, I think work mom. Nice lady, wholesome. When I think of Jenna Fisher, I don't think yeah.
What was that lady from Mad Men, the redhead?
Oh, Christina Hendricks.
Yeah, I think she's on that list too.
For sure. Oh, is
that better for you?
Much better.
Okay.
Yeah, she's in
I couldn't think of her name. That's why.
I know her name. She's in Good Girls. Is a show where her and her friends play. They're basically housewives who get involved in counterfeit money laundering.
Oh yeah, it's got she goes by like one name, and she was on
Parks and Rec.
yeah. Treat yourself.
Treat yourself. Yeah.
My wife loved that show actually.
It's actually a really good show. I'm a fan of it.
I've watched it with her. Yeah.
I mean,
Not one of her worst shows.
Christina Hendricks is definitely a highlight. One of the highlights of that show.
I had to watch Catfish with her the other day.
Oof. Hit or miss. See, that's why if I get married, I want a wife that, you know, when she's occupying the TV or whatever, and is watching something, we have to watch something. It's something that I care about, like anime.
You know what? Sometimes you just take one for the team, and it's not that big of a deal. Like, I gotta watch The Bachelor. You know what I mean? And it's okay.
It to me is just a matter of balance. I'm just going my preference, but if the worst thing about your wife is that she likes to watch, you know, some trash TV, that's definitely more than acceptable, because I've seen some of the women that I've been running around these days, and it could get much worse.
Yeah. I don't even care. Like she definitely likes reality TV. She watches all of the Married at First Sight, 90 Day Fiance, all that stuff. But like, you know, like, it's fine.
I get it. I used to, when I was younger,
loves the Hallmark Channel.
When I was younger, I used to like reality TV. I used to, well, some of it. I never watched Jersey Shore or any of that garbage, but I used
love Jersey Shore.
I used to watch The Real World. I love me some Real World.
I love The Challenge. Like, that's the show that she put me on to, that I love watching. The Challenge.
Never got into The Challenge. By the time The Challenge was really like a thing, I had basically grown out of The Real World.
Yeah. I love Wes, and I love CT. They're the best.
You know,
CT
I miss making the band. that was such a great show.
Yeah.
Nothing will match that season with the band, with Ines, Babs, Freddie, all that. That's just classic. That's probably the best reality show I've ever seen.
I also enjoy watching Bar Rescue.
Of course. I don't mind some of those food shows, like when I still had YouTube TV, I was like, I just had the food channel on just because I like to fall asleep watching stuff, and I think Diners, Dives, and Bars came on.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is actually a good show, and it gave me some ideas for recipes. I ended up because of that show, I ended up making aggressively expensive grilled cheese sandwich because he went to this really cool restaurant that had like these famous grilled cheese sandwiches, like these gourmet sandwiches, and I was like, oh, that looks really good. You know, I like to try a upscale gourmet sandwich, grilled cheese sandwich. So I went on the website and got the ingredients for it, and I had to order from Whole Foods to get some of the shit. And holy, it came to I made it. I had enough ingredients to make, I think, 8 sandwiches out of it.
Yep.
And it cost me like $60.
Jesus. Listen, I'm not gonna criticize, because like, I don't think you've ever seen, like, so I make a good chili. Okay, I've won like many competitions. When I worked at Bose, we had like a very serious chili cook-off every year, and I won it 3 years straight. And it was definitely something I enjoyed doing. But I don't know how to make a small crock pot of chili. I make enough chili to serve like 100 people every time. So like, I've made chilies and it's cost me like $100. But like, we eat chili for a long time.
I feel you. I'm the exact same way with spaghetti. I don't just, if I'm on the occasion of making spaghetti, I'm dumping in the whole box. Like, we're getting a pot of of fucking spaghetti. We're getting all
Yeah.
we're getting all of the spaghetti. I'm going to be having spaghetti for the next several meals. It's just going to be
Yeah, a lot of
spaghetti.
people always ask me like, "Oh, what's your secret to making chili?" And it's real simple. It's
Come.
you have to basically make this a 2-day or event, okay? Like I cook all the meat in a crock pot separately
Mhm.
like a day before. And it's mostly just ground beef, but I also include a package of spicy sausage, and I'll always get like something like steak or whatever, and I'll slice it up real fine and thin.
What kind of steak?
And like,
We're
uh,
talking Wagyu.
no, I'm not going that serious, but just honestly, just any chuck steak or whatever that like is meant for like slow cooking or whatever, like making for a stew. But like you cut it up all nice and you just let it simmer for like a whole day, and all the flavors melt in. I usually dump in like a jar of like hot chill salsa, just to like give it a little bit of flavor. And then I've got like a bunch of spices that I'll include in it. And you do all of that separate, and it's gonna make it super fine and super tender, and all the flavor is just gonna melt together. And then like just lots of onions and lots of peppers, and you want it to be thick because like as it's cooking together, you're obviously going to get your juices and
Of
everything,
course.
but the thicker the chili the better, and that's why mine ends
Just
up
like
being
my women.
but like that's why my chili ends up being so expensive, because like I try to get it to have less sauce, because like you're gonna have a lot of juice for the chili anyway, but like when you're taking a bite and it's a lot of ingredient, it's obviously gonna like taste better, especially when you get the spices right and everything. So
I appreciate that because I'm not a big chili guy. I don't like especially chili that's like too watery. It's like not enough.
right.
But mainly I like the main times I ate chili was like as part of a sloppy Joe.
Yeah.
I think to me that's the optimal use of chili.
When I was a kid, we were stationed in Cherry Point, North Carolina, and the Marines had a massive chili cook-off. So I think it's just something that I've always loved, because like it was like this big field day basically. There was like 50 or 60 tables of just chili. You'd go and you get these little cups and you'd try all the chili. And there were all these like vendors that were there, and radio station was there, and all this kind of stuff. And it was like every year we went to this thing. It was awesome. So I've always stuck with me. And my mom and dad both made really good chilies. And when they started doing this chili cook off, I'm like, my mom makes a real good chili. I bet I could take, like, we did it together the first one, and I took like some things that I always kind of wanted to do with the chili and incorporated it. And the other thing, if you're doing a show chili, don't just get red and green peppers, get yellow and orange peppers
Of
too,
course.
because people see the colors and it stands out. And I would always like, because you always had to have like your ingredients and everything,
Right.
and I would always get something like bison, like a small package of ground bison meat.
I've actually had bison before. Not bad.
Yeah, it's like a leaner burger basically. Have you ever been to like Ted's Montana Grill?
Oh no, not that fancy. But I did order some exotic meats off my phone one time. I got bison and boar.
Interesting. We yeah, that's another story. But in Jacksonville, there's this place that we would go to, Jacksonville, Florida, called Clark's Fish Camp, and they like had the most ridiculous things on their menu. Like we're talking like ostrich and freaking
Ooh.
zebra, and like just all sorts of weird stuff like that. Like it's off the top of my head. So
Oh, your dad was at Cherry Point? No shit.
yeah, my dad was an air traffic controller at Cherry Point,
Apparently
and I was born in Camp Lejeune.
Eastwood's dad was at Cherry Point. Small world.
Yeah.
Actually, Jay, there's an anime I got for you, Jay, that you probably appreciate as a fan of the cooking.
Uh-huh.
and it's not actually Food Wars though. that 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 is a fun show. It's definitely not a show an anime I'd recommend a normie because it's full of anime bullshit. But there's this new anime that just came out this year called Campfire Cooking in Another World. Basically what they call an isekai. You know, the basic premise is, you know, there's a guy or a kid usually living in Japan. They're a loser or they're just unremarkable, and they're hit by a truck or summoned by mystics or something, or they die and reincarnate, and basically they just end up in a fantasy world that somehow operates off of a RPG system, and you just follow their adventure as they. Usually the trope is, you know, they come into the other world, they're overpowered, and they just go on their adventure, fighting the demon lords and collecting big titty waifus along the way. But the most interesting isekai to me are the ones that kind of subvert those expectations and make it more interesting. And this is one of them. This one is called Campfire Cooking in Another World, and this regular, and it's kind of pokes fun at and subverts the genre because this kingdom in this magical fantasy world uses magic to summon these regular people from Japan to act as their champions and be heroes to fight the demon lord and everything like that. You know, that's usually trope goes. But this fourth guy somehow got caught up in the spell, and he gets dropped off there with them to meet in front of the king. And the other three have these, you know, typical overpowered hero abilities that you would expect. But our main character has a very specific and weird ability. It's not something that he can use like for battle or anything. He can summon basically a kiosk, and he can use it to order items from a online Japanese grocery store and have it automatically transported instantly to the magical world just by putting in money. So, and he has no interest in being a hero or anything like that. So his whole thing is he's going to get out here as fast as possible. But he just wants to live an easy life and eat some good food, which you can now thanks to the online grocery. So his whole thing is he just travels around and makes this amazing food and stuff. And the food's so good compared to the stuff in their world. And it's also, we find out it's enhanced by magic. But he ends up making friends with this legendary monster wolf who loves his food so much that he basically says, "I'll be your familiar," and basically protects him from all danger. So usually the protagonist of these guys has to become, you know, overpowered and fight to become, you know, a point where they can fight off threats. This guy, as long as he cooks great food, the wolf will just, you know, defeat everyone. They don't have to worry about anything. But they go through a lot of trouble to show the food because this guy's apparently like an amateur chef. So like every episode, he cooks a new and exciting meal for his wolf using either stuff from the online grocery that they obviously don't know of, like, you know, tonkatsu fried chicken, or he'll take monster ingredients from their world and make something traditional. and just like a lot of anime, they're really good when they're animating food. It will immediately make you hungry, and it looks delicious. And I think it's something you appreciate because it's like a chill vibe anime. It's funny, you know. It's got a ton of delicious food. It's got some really good recipes because they actually go through everything step by step, and it's not full of anime bullshit. You know, you don't have to worry about you know, overpowered too many over the top fight scenes. No, you don't have to worry about your wife walking in on you with some big titty anime girl. just walk, just all of the frame. It's just a really good vibe. And just a fun, like, kind of an adventure story that I think you'd be into.
Well, there it is.
That's Sadat's anime recommendation of the week. Campfire Cooking in Another World, available right now on Crunchyroll or any of the 10,000 websites that let you watch anime for free. That is Sadat's anime recommendation. I think
All right.
Jay Shotglass wasn't fond of Demon Slayer because he didn't think there was enough Nezuko scenes, but maybe this one will be more up his alley.
Oh, I see the wolf. It's white.
Oh yeah, so another reason Jay should love it.
Yep. Well, red legs. Interesting.
That's real fun. Oh yeah, actually, I do remember there are some big titty anime girls in here.
Oh, I'm out.
No, but it's not overt. It's there are goddesses in this world. You know, he gives that give blessings, and his whole thing is that one of the goddesses notices all the delicious food he's giving his wolf. So she's like, I'll give you a blessing if you send me dessert. so just, you know, every couple episodes he'll remember to send her a package of desserts, and eventually the other goddesses, who some of which are big titty waifus, notice that she's hogging all the desserts for herself, and it becomes a thing. but it's not like over the top fan service. It's just they just happen to have big tits.
This took a turn.
It's anime, so you know I had to throw that in there somewhere. They got it. It's an isekai, so it's kind of inevitable. But I thought it was surprisingly wholesome. I thought for an isekai, so that's why I appreciated it. They don't give you. They just mainly focus on the vibe. You know, the food, the good food. You know, hanging out with your bro who happens to be a unbeatable legendary wolf monster. You know, just eat some good food, out camping, eating in the forest. You know, just a good old time.
Sounds it.
I do recommend it. I think you'll enjoy it. We can all start trading recipes and talking hot fishes. As we, I mean, I don't think I've actually ever gone camping, but I like the idea of it.
I can tell you that you are not missing anything.
I'm sure I'm not, because I'm personally not a fan. I've been in the outdoors. I used to go to camps and stuff. Not a fan of the bugs and everything like that. I like the idea of it. I think the most I did was my dad took me fishing one time on a boat, but it was kind of like a speed boat, and I got motion sickness the entire time. So didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, we used to go camping in the Cub Scouts in North Carolina, and miserable experience.
He thinks you should start a chili YouTube channel. I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it. I mean, based on how you describe your chili in intimate detail, I think you actually could unironically do that.
I tried recording it once, and it was just crap.
I mean, there's levels to Jay. It's very doable. You have what you need. You just have to understand
my
the setup.
Kitchen is definitely not like made for it. My kitchen's honestly probably the oldest looking room in the house, but it's serviceable for now, and we don't plan on being here long term, so I don't want to like invest in it too much.
You don't have to invest in it, Jay. It's all about how you dress it up. I know I haven't watched as much lately, but one of my favorite YouTube channels is Binging with Babish, and his whole thing is he was just in his New York apartment, and he just so happened to have an idea to start making recipes based on TV shows and movies. Just filmed it in his kitchen and became a massive success. And he has a much better setup now, obviously, because he got a new place. He's has a lot more money, so he can afford a lot more cameras. But in the beginning, it was just pretty straightforward. Just film the hands over the countertop, do the things, record a voiceover later, and keep it moving. That's the key. It's all about that one good camera angle, and I feel like the hands angle is pretty perfect. The Babish angle is more like some channels will just do the hands. Other Babish just does it kind of like the neck, just hair down, and just frames the countertop so you can see all the activity right there. And it's a very very soothing and fun experience to watch. I would definitely watch a Jay Shockblast chili cooking tutorial. You could even I know how much you love shorts. You could even do YouTube short recipes to grow the channel even faster. Quick YouTube short of you put together some chili recipes.
Yeah. I watched one of this guy who drives around and finding like yards that are all just disheveled, and he'll like offer to clean it up for free, and then he'll just record himself like transforming this yard.
See, those
It's crazy.
those are the type of videos that I appreciate with YouTube. Some and TikTok. Some of the stuff like the pranks, everything. I'm not fond of.
Hate it.
Like I don't like when they do stuff that's like really like. There's some stuff that's just like there's this trend where a guy will sneak up on someone and use listen to music, and they'll cut their earbuds, the wires of their earbuds with scissors, and then they'll play it off, and then they'll surprise them at the end with a new pair of AirPods and a backup box of the same or similar design of headset of earbuds that they destroyed. But I'm like, bro, you're walking up to someone from behind with a pair of scissors, and then you destroy their property for a video. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if some of those people got knocked the fuck out, because I don't like that. I don't like this sort of thing. There's another trend where this guy, he's famous for like just bumping into really buff people. Like he goes around the gyms and stuff and just like shoulder checks guys that are like really that look really strong, and it's just stuff like that. I don't like when you're doing pranks that you're just basically harassing people or attacking or provoking them. Like there's the whole pretend to steal your luggage prank. I don't like any of this shit. But you want to go and clean up someone's yard or give someone a free photo shoot. That's cool. That's to me that's a nice thing. You're providing value. You're doing something of value. And even if you're not doing something of value, if you're not hurting anyone, I don't care about like the guy who just jiggles his belly. Like that's just fun. Who gives a shit? It's weird that that's enough to make you famous, but it's a thing. It's a thing. It's a society. But he's not hurting.
Well, the ones that kill me are the ones that'll just sit there. It'll have like a side by side screen, and they're watching somebody else, and it's just them going.
Yeah, it's the lowest effort form of reaction video. Like people make fun of reaction channels, but there's definitely levels to this. I'll look at a Mr. Beast or a Pokemon reaction video, and it's like, oh yeah, or even a flight. And he's like, okay, I can see why people are entertained by this. This is actually like a whole production, or in the case of like a Pokemon or Mr. Beast, or just a great personality in terms of a flight. But the whole trend where it's just like, oh, even the black guy, Jordan the Stallion, he does similar stuff to that. Like his whole thing is he just stands in his bathroom with his camera and just kind of gives like a monologue. But he'll have a video play and he'll react to it, but he'll react to it like with like a really funny monologue. But yeah, but then you have the people who will literally just play the thing and will just sit there the whole time, like, and they won't even say like,
yeah, and then just make like a face.
It's like the bare minimum
like,
of transformative.
Like, why are people watching this shit? Because I know they're probably watching it because of like the video the person.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. Like they're they can't. They're not going to just upload the video, because then they're just stealing a video. But if they want to get monetized, you have to at least make an effort to make it transformative. Right. And apparently, the bar for transformative is a side by side of you and the content you're re-uploading and is making faces.
It's so stupid. It's honestly like, I'm glad you feel the same way, because then you can't just be like, oh, Jay's just a boomer.
I mean, he is a boomer.
I'm just right.
But but as a YouTuber, yeah, I definitely recognize there are levels to the stuff. Jordan, unfortunately, is not related to Megan as far as I know. But he is very funny. I definitely am a fan of his shorts. I've binged a lot of them. They're very entertaining. He's recently started incorporating pets into it. He's got a dog and a cat, and he's got a couple cats and a dog, and they're all very cute. Very, very nice. But his whole basic shtick is just him in the bathroom, but it's some pretty funny stuff. And some of the videos are crazy. Like he'll often react to like images, like videos of like giant basically monsters, like stuff in Australia, like those. I don't know how they live like this, but there are legitimately those spiders in Australia that are just in people's houses that are like 10 feet long.
Yeah, I don't.
Bro, if I saw something like that in my house, I'd get a gun.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It would not stop shooting until it was dead.
Yeah.
So, and I would seal up every orifice of my home to make sure this never happened again. Because what the actual fuck? How does something that big get into your house?
Yeah, fuck that.
Like, no. Like, no way. Just auto reason just to never ever go to Australia. Like, there's never any reason to go there.
Yeah, especially when you can just go to Japan instead.
Literally, way better.
Yeah,
way better culture, in my opinion. More beautiful women, cool stuff. I have no reason to go to Australia. And they
agreed.
And you can see some very beautiful scenery and environments, and not risk your life getting murdered by some exotic creature. Like there's no downside there.
I'm with you.
I mean, it's extremely racist, but even their racism is polite in Japan.
Yeah, they would just probably walk up to you and try to touch your hair.
Yeah, or call me Kobe.
Yeah,
or something like that. Which I can get along with. I love Japan culture enough that they created anime, so I can forgive them for if some of the girls want to touch my hair. I would actually encourage. But not that at all. That's how the Riz begins. But I think we got all the stories out of the way. Maybe next week we'll do a would you rather, so I can incriminate Jay Shotglass again.
And I will walk right into it, because good content is good content.
They're right. I'll in the meantime I'll keep editing the stuff, and this will be the dedicated channel for the after show. So I'll be uploading shorts. The live streams will just sit here, and when I have time, I'll start re-uploading the stuff from the other channel over here, but that's a lot of migrating. So
I just realized I didn't get last week's episode up, so I'll get that up in the morning.
Yep.
And then this one when I get it.
Sure. So as usual, thanks to everyone who hung out. We'll be doing new channel, but same time, same
y'all
same
are
place.
the real ones. Eastwood, Nava, Roderick, the bearded one,
Lucky Raygun, appreciate it.
Yeah, Lucky Raygun. Yeah, thank you guys. Y'all are the real ones. We remember.
We will never forget.
We'll
never forget. So hopefully we can. I'll work on getting some more guests because I definitely, we can't get Tony. I definitely want to get Aaron. I want to get somebody. I want to get somebody on that's working on Spider-Man 2. And we
shout out to Sandberger lurking at the end.
Appreciate that, Sandberger. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about the Power Rangers thing. I saw a thumbnail of it and was like, the fuck?
Yeah. I'm not really a Power Rangers guy, but even though I feel like I've met like all of them because my brother loves the Power Rangers. So every time we go to like New York Comic Con, we'll meet them. And
a rare J Shock Class L. Your brother has better taste.
I had just grown out of it when it started getting big. Like I was just starting high school and
Power Rangers.
I was in that.
Power Rangers is goated.
It's okay.
I didn't watch the later series because they don't matter. But when in the 90s, Power Rangers was king. I love the originals. I stopped caring after Turbo. It doesn't matter. But the original cast, Tommy, White Ranger, Green. That's basically that was basically the peak.
Yeah, we just met Austin St. John and the Black Ranger. Zach.
I think pretty sure it was that. I think he's in
Walter something.
Yeah, I think he's in the. I think I recognized him in the Netflix thing. So it gave me it definitely gave me Cobra Kai vibes. So it's definitely something I'll check out because Cobra Kai was amazing and I appreciate. I'm not above nostalgia bait. I'm a big fan of it. I just want you to do the nostalgia bait properly, and you will be rewarded for it. Don't try to nostalgia bait and then bait and switch with some modern audience bullshit like they did with He-Man. No Way Home did it right.
What, the new He-Man, the Revelations?
Master Universe. Yeah, I'm not
the Kevin Smith one.
Yeah, not a fan.
I liked it.
Of course you did,
because it was not He-Man. It was Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, they know what they were doing. But I'm not a
Mark Hamill as Skeletor.
No Way Home was cool. Cobra Kai was incredible. I like that's what I'm good with. So if there's anything like Cobra Kai, I'll definitely be all over.
Yeah, I think it will be.
So I'll check out the trailer later. But we'll be out of here. We'll see you next week. Next week happens to be the final Marvel's Avengers update. So
oh geez, that'll be interesting.
We might talk about it. I'll be streaming it on my main channel, for nostalgia's sake. But maybe we'll talk about it on the show as well. Maybe invite Miller on or something. Have some people on just to reminisce about our favorite dead game.
Oh, we should have I forgot his name.
Brian Wagner.
Voldemort.
Oh, Kyle.
Yeah, well, we should have him on.
Oh gosh, imagine.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
The king of beta testers.
938 days later, you're finally right.
Hey, you got to be right eventually. That's all it counts. That's all it counts. So I'm Sadat the Gamer.
I am Jay Shockblast.
Casual Avenger. Still working on it. Maybe I might use AI. Zip it up and zip it out.